Hi, everyone. We're still struggling with a lot of issues here with writing, stuff that we should really already know. So we're going to make a concentrated effort to do as well as we possibly can on some concepts which I really think we should be pretty well aware of right now. Okay, we're going to be using some mnemonics. That's when we put letters together to mean something else, but they form a word that we can remember. The first one we're going to learn is CUPS. And CUPS stands for capitalization, usage, punctuation, and spelling. I will be dealing with usage, punctuation, and spelling at some other time, but right now we're going to be talking about capitalization. And the things we need to remember when it comes to capitalizing things, okay? We're still having a real issue with that, so I want to introduce something to help us with the C part. And when we think about the C part, we're going to have to remember this word here. So we know the C in CUPS stands for capitalization, and under capitalization, we're going to think of mints. We know what mints are. Mints are the kind of things we put in our mouth, and it gives us fresh breath. Well, capitalization, I guess, gives us fresh writing. Okay, it helps our reader. It's one of the things that helps make our writing more readable. Okay, so when we think of capitalization, we want to think of the mints rules. Now, at some point, I'm actually referring to this so I make sure I remember it. We have a big old anchor chart to remind us, and it'll be over by our tiny writing desk. The tiny writing desk is called our tiny writing desk because it's where we come up with big ideas. But I'm not going to use the anchor chart just yet because I want to introduce this. And this way, since it's in video form, you can always go back to it. All right, so we want to think mints, M-I-N-T-S. Each one of these letters means something, just like each one of the letters in CUPS means something. Mints, M-I-N-T-S. For M, it's M because we want to think months, days, and dates. Now, months are always capitalized, and I think we're pretty good with that. And days, I know we're really good with that. I really have only seen a couple of instances where we've written Wednesday with a lowercase w. But dates, holidays, right? All holidays, big ones, little ones. Now here in Saudi Arabia we have religious holidays. I know you know that's going to need to be capitalized, but like the United States, I'm sure Saudi Arabia has days where there are certain days where, because of education, it could be National Read a Book Week, right? They have weeks like that. Well, if you have something like National Read a Book Week, those need to be capitalized. Capitalized would be National Read, probably not that, but Read a Book Week, maybe like that. National Read a Book Week, right? Everything in National Read a Book Week would be capitalized because it's a date. It could be National, build a home somewhere for somebody day. But any kind of a holiday or any kind of important date, okay, is going to need to be capitalized. Independence Days, anything that the country or a country is going to celebrate as a cultural, as a country, those are holidays. Even small ones like in America, it's not really an official holiday. It's called Halloween. Everybody kind of around the world participates in it, but even that would need to be capitalized. So remember, the M stands for months, days, dates, and dates means holidays. And holidays don't necessarily have to be something really big. Like I said, it could be something that the government comes up with and calls it National Read a Book Week. Well, every word in National Read a Book Week would need to be capitalized. So, you know what that is. Now, the I is something we're still struggling with. And that's kind of infuriating because I'm still talking about this. We do I instead of I. Now, if you think about it, I say this a lot when we're at the tiny writing desk and I'm working with individuals or working with small groups. We don't want to do this because I am important. Okay? I am important. When you're talking about yourself, you need to use I. One of the reasons, another way to look at that, so you understand to use a capital I when you're talking about yourself, if you were to refer to yourself by your own name, you would need to capitalize it. Well, in many ways, you're referring to yourself here by your own name, but instead of saying your own name, you're saying I. Okay, remember, we use I because I am important. Think about when you're writing. So when you see it, you go, oh, wait a minute. It's not a lowercase I. It's standing by itself. I must be talking about me, and I am important. So let's get rid of this. All right. N. N stands for names of people, places, and organizations. Okay? Names. Oops. Names. I'll replace the N. Names of people, places, and organizations. We need to capitalize the names of people. It's just that. It's just that simple, you know? Everybody has a name, and you need to capitalize their names. You need to capitalize people's names because they are important, just like I am important when I do I am important. I write just I. Places. All right. I think I'll put this on Seesaw so we can talk about this. Parents, I want you to know this too, so I will put it on Seesaw. Places are really important. Cities need to be capitalized. Countries need to be capitalized. But, and the reason why I'm putting this on Seesaw, maybe it can generate a conversation, is because we need to know the difference between cities and countries. Rome is a city. Italy is a country. Paris is a city. France is a country. Both of them need to be capitalized, but we need to remember the difference, okay? Cities are obviously smaller, and they are in countries. So let's make sure we remember the difference. Now, this really isn't a social studies lesson. It's about capitalizing, but it's one of those things I want people, or I want the kids to really remember that. Know the difference between cities and countries. And if you're talking about places, well, Germany has them, Canada has provinces, the United States has states. Inside of countries, there are also the areas that are considered states or provinces. Those need to be capitalized as well. Those are places. Organizations, businesses, okay? Non-governmental organizations. Now, I know that's a big word for the kids, but things like the Red Crescent, the Red Cross, World Health Organization, Save the Children, you know, the World Wildlife Foundation, right? Those sorts of places are organizations, and they're also important, and they need to be capitalized, okay? So, names. The N stands for names of people, places, and organizations. I can tell you this much. When in doubt, capitalize it. Okay? T is for titles. Titles of people, books, movies. Okay, so titles, books. That's supposed to be an S. Movies, people. Oops. People have titles as well, especially here. Let's think about it. Books. Anytime you read Where the Red Fern Grows. We're reading Long Boy right now with our novel study group. All that needs to be capitalized. Movies. Anytime we go see movies, watching movies all day. People go home and watch movies all the time. All those things need to be capitalized. People have titles. Mr. Mrs. Now this is these are abbreviations, but we could actually spell Mr. M-I-S-T-E-R. Okay, so we can capitalize it. But here we're in Saudi Arabia. Think about it. King, right? Prince. These things need to be capitalized. Titles. But they're not just reserved for royalty and people. People can have titles. People can have titles. They can be president, not the president of a country, but you can be president of a bank or a company, right? Mayor, right? You could be mayor or governor. We have mayors and I think there's a governor here of Riyadh, and but other cities have things called mayors. Those are people. People in the military all have titles. Anytime someone has a title in front of their name, we need to capitalize it. Again, like organizations, when in doubt, capitalize it, okay? And the last one is something that we're still struggling with a number of us, okay? S, start of a sentence. Okay, when we start a sentence, we need to use a capital. Hopefully we'll end it with a period, but even if there's just a period, we need to let our readers know that they can take a breath and start a new sentence. Seeing that period, we know that that's one thought, it's over with, we got another idea, right? Because one sentence, one idea, one thought, one idea, one sentence. We know that period's going to say, it's going to give our reader a chance to take a breath, and they can continue to move on. Start of a sentence, it's also just another clue. It's another cue for your reader to get a chance to slow down and start a new idea. All right, so let's think about this. Cups, we're only working on C right now. The C stands for capitalization. Under capitalizations, we're going to remember our mints rules. Mints keep our breath fresh, and capitalization is going to keep our writing fresh. M, months, days, dates, holidays, national, religious, capitalized. I, capital I instead of lowercase I for yourself when you're speaking of yourself. Why? Because you are important. I am important. Names of people, places, and organizations. Doesn't have to be a big deal, but you know, something like the World Wildlife Fund needs to be capitalized. And obviously people and places. And let's remember the difference between cities and countries. That's still a problem. I know this is about editing, but I'd like people to know, or I'd like everybody to know that there's a difference between cities and countries. Titles, books, movies, people in the military, people who work for countries, all have titles. People who run companies have titles, right? Could be the finance guy. If you're the director of finance for XYZ company, the director of finance, that's going to need to be capitalized. And the S, the start of the sentence. We need to let our readers know that we've come to the end of one idea and we're going to start with another one. And that gives our readers a chance to take a breath and maybe think about what they've just read, because they're going to be reading something maybe slightly different. Okay, so mints, M-I-N-T-S. It's under our capitalization. Months, days, dates, holidays, I instead of I. Names of people, places, and organizations. Titles, books, movies, people. Start of the sentence, mints. Mints keep your breath fresh, and using capitalization will make your writing fresh. Good luck.